Yeah. Pro Fan Sports Podcast. Let's get it. Pro fans, tune into the program. Every single week, get the dope, fam. Sean on the mic, very flat too. Keep you updated, that's what we do. Pro fans, tune into the program. Pro fans, tune into the program. Pro fans, tune into the program. Every single week, get the dope, fam.
Yo, what to do, everybody? It's your boy John Altidor with Pro Fan Sports Podcast, where the fans of the pros go back at you with another one. My boys Vladimir. What's good, fellas?
Yo, what's going on?
Hey, we're doing good, guys. Here we are on to episode 29.
Episode 29. Who's number 29? LeGarrette Blount.
Yep. Eric Berry.
Berry.
Yep, the former Chiefs safety.
Yeah.
Earl Thomas.
Who
was, yeah.
Who's out the league right now?
Yeah, doesn't have a job yet, right? The Texans didn't sign him, so, yeah, he's still a free agent.
Episode 29, man. One more closer to 30. And as always, please follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, and that's at profans_sports. We're on Twitter /profansports, facebook.com/profansports. And if you like to watch our episodes, we're on youtube.com/profansports. As always, we drop every Tuesday morning on all streaming platforms, and our videos drop every Wednesday. So be on the lookout for that, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. And as always, we're going to be tackling some NBA today, some NFL, NHL news, MLB news, some soccer updates from Vlad, and then the B-Money lifestyle. And for the NBA, we're going to start off with the NBA. We're going to be discussing some of the Boston Celtics in the elimination game that they had, what happened, our thoughts on the whole series as a whole. And then we'll talk about the Western Conference and what's going on right now, and who are the faces right now, as well as some other news on the NBA. So, fellas, I think last time we were recording, the Celtics were going into Game 6, and I think did we all say they could win the game?
Yeah. Well, we talked about what they could do to win that game, and how they should be able to win that game based on the previous games. I
think we all pretty much expected them to at least win and push the series, the game 7, and thought they'd be able to pull it out and find a way in Game 6, and unfortunately that didn't happen for them.
Yeah, man. I mean, that was like a week and a day ago. Yeah, and it already feels like these guys have been.
Sunday, right.
It already feels like these guys have been, at home for like the past month or something, since there's other things going on. But it's only been, a day over a week now. But now that you guys got the chance to digest everything, you probably saw the highlights. Heard some news about it. I know Danny Ainge did a closing conference. What happened to the Celtics? Like, what do you think disappointed you the most, or who do you think disappointed you the most?
Man, I mean, I think the Celtics went physical enough. They went physical. They didn't fight hard enough. The games that they should have won, to me, like some of the games that they definitely could have won and should have won, and that would have helped them win the series, was Game 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Game 1, they were up 12 points at a point during the game. Game 2, they were up 17 points. And both of those games were winnable games. And the Celtics did not close out any of those games. And I think once they lost those games, they gave the Heat confidence, and the Heat just took over the series, and it never looked back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me, my most disappointing. The people that I'm disappointed in most is Brad Stevens and Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker, we brought him over to be our point guard, but also a veteran point guard. Somebody that can drop 40 points on the night, but also can dish it out and run the offense, and also he's a really nice guy, and he can motivate the other players. He's not a polarizing figure like Kyrie. He's more of a let's come together, let's win this game. And I didn't really see him rise up to that level that he needed to this playoff, this series. And I know that was his first time in the Eastern Conference Final, but man, you just gotta rise up to the occasion. And I don't feel as though he did that. And also I feel as though Brad Stevens didn't help him out either. I feel as though the Kemba would get to the paint and pass the ball out, and he wouldn't know what to do after that. And Brad Stevens, I feel as though didn't either put him in a different position where he's running and taking jump shots or something, like trying something different to get him going. And I feel as though that didn't happen enough. And I feel as though at times when the offense wasn't clicking, I didn't feel the stamp of Brad Stevens trying to get those guys going until game 4, I believe, which we won game 4, right?
No, game 5.
Game 5.
We lost.
Yeah, game 5, where we attacked the zone, and Brad Stevens switched things around, trying to put somebody in the middle of the zone, which was nice. But then it felt as though it was too little, too late. Like the guys weren't. The Heat already had the confidence that they needed to win the series, and it's been very disappointing. I mean, it's crazy that we're talking about this now. I mean, we didn't get to record a episode soon enough, but I just don't want to even remember that series, you know?
Yeah,
what I mean?
I mean, like I said, it was so long ago.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it felt like it was so long. It wasn't that long ago at all.
No.
But these things are happening so fast in the NBA. You know, you don't really have too much time to, you know. I mean, that's one thing I liked about the NBA. You know, but for podcast purposes, you know, it's not it's not the most conducive thing, you know, when we're trying to keep you updated on everything that's going on.
For sure.
But of course, we still had to talk about it. Barry, what were your thoughts on what happened to the Celtics, and what disappointed you and who disappointed you?
I mean, it was just frustrating end to their season, and a pretty bad one to say the least. I even think bad's an understatement. I think it was a horrific ending to their season. You know, they looked all right in certain parts of Game 6 and stretches, and thought they were playing well for the most part in that game. And then once it got towards halfway through the fourth quarter, and I think they had like a 6-point lead, that's just pretty much when it fell apart, and they had a letdown, and they reverted back to some of the old habits that they had, gotten themselves into, that pretty much caused them to lose the game. And I think that's pretty what had happened, and the Heat showed that they had more heart. They had, more of a will to win. They, were hungrier and outplayed and outworked the Celtics in that last, half of the fourth quarter. I thought that once they, got the lead and came back from that 6-point deficit, they were midway through the fourth quarter, and they, kept stretching out the lead from like 4 to 7, and it was like to 10. That's pretty much when the Celtics just kind of like they didn't really have an answer for, what the Heat were throwing at them, and they just pretty much gave up and like checked out at that point. They didn't look like they really wanted to, win that game, and that they were determined to push that series to a Game 7. They jacked up way too many 3-point shots, and which certainly is not their, their style of play. At least, if they want to win games, especially since they weren't hitting them. I believe they were 14 for 44 from three, so that's barely over 30%, which isn't very good to say the least. They, didn't really attack the zone and attack the paint, and just kept settling. I didn't really think they ran the offense. It was like everyone wanted to win the game by themselves and be the hero. They got back to playing the hero ball, and everyone being selfish and trying to do it themselves instead of playing as a team and and playing together and moving the ball and then getting the best shot they can for the offense. I think certainly a big factor was their inability to guard Bam Adebayo in the pick and roll. I think he just absolutely dominated and had his way with our big men throughout the series, and did pretty much whatever he wanted to do, and controlled the paint throughout the whole series. I think that was the biggest problem for the Celtics that they couldn't really bind into for. I thought they did a better job on him in Game 5. With Tyson Cantor played pretty well against him in that game, but then pretty much the other games he had the upper hand in that matchup, and and showed that he was the best, one of the best big men in the game, and the best big guy in that series. I thought their 3-point shooters were pretty good, and Hero and Duncan Robinson, those guys certainly made some big shots, and had their way with the Celtics, which was disappointing because you thought the Celtics would be able to figure out a way how to guard those guys and slow them down and not, and neutralize them to, in a way that they wouldn't be as effective as they were. And then they got contributions from everyone else, from their role players, from Gordon Dragic to the Crowders to even Iguodala in Game 6 that hit some big shots. So the Heat were just pretty much a better. Well, they weren't better team talent-wise, but they played better and they executed better when they needed to, and that was pretty much, I think, the deciding factor. I thought the Celtics really didn't do a good job in like I said, taking care of the ball. Thought that was one of the things in the series that really bit them in the ass was, turnovers and not valuing, the offensive possessions that they had. That was certainly an Achilles heel for them, and the Heat took full advantage of that throughout the whole series. In the couple of games that they won, I thought they did do a good job of that, but I think Game 6, it went right back to the sloppiness of the other games and not, having good possessions on offense. And I think also another thing I want to point out was, I think Vlad was absolutely right and called it that Spoelstra could coach circles around Brad Stevens. Like, the guy just flat out got out coached. Like, it wasn't even close. Like, I think I think we rated Brad Stevens a little bit too high, a little bit too soon, and put him in that hierarchy of NBA coaches, a little bit early, because he has shown in this series that he's just not there yet, not on the level of Eric Spoelstra. I thought Spoelstra pretty much had the upper hand by far in this series, and certainly got the best out of those guys and made the adjustments he needed to make, and and was by far the better coach in in this series. So I think that was certainly a big part. The play was disappointing. The coaching performance we saw from Brad Stevens, I thought he'd play or not play coach much better than what he did, but I didn't think he did a really good job in the series and didn't make the necessary adjustments that he needed to, and I think he did, but by the time he made them, the series was pretty much over at that point, and the Heat had full control of the series and, had pretty much all the momentum and the belief that, they were going to come away with the series and move on to the finals, and that's what happened. So I think a number of things happened with the Celtics, and, they're definitely going to have to evaluate themselves and really look themselves in the mirror, because this was a pretty good opportunity for them to get to the finals and get some valuable experience playing in their NBA finals. And unfortunately, they didn't get to do that. And I'll just quickly say that the most disappointed person I'm in this series is Jason Tatum. Okay. I think that's the guy that I expected more from. He was good in certain stretches of the series, but he wasn't good in certain parts of the series, and an inconsistency and not being as aggressive from the start in games and waiting until later in the game to do that. Certainly wasn't good at all for him and wasn't good for the team, and especially when they needed his offensive production the most. And I felt like, he wasn't able to come through, and needs to do a better job of being aggressive right from the start, and and attacking from the first quarter for the full 48 minutes all the way through, and not waiting until later in the game to start being aggressive offensively. So I think that he was the most disappointed guy I was in, but I'm pretty much disappointed in all those guys, because everyone could have played a lot better than what they did in this series, and they didn't, and that's why they're home right now, and the Heat have moved on and are playing in the finals.
I mean, I think you guys pretty much hit up on a lot of the points that that needs to be made when it comes to the Celtics series versus the Heat. I think like Vlad was saying, the first two games, those were very winnable games, and I felt like the fact that they lost those games kind of creeped into their heads and gave them a lot of doubt. Because then they got into that huge fight after the next game, and it was just that definitely tells you there's a lot of doubt there, and people are screaming at each other in the locker rooms, and they're downplaying it and stuff like that. So definitely, I like I said in the show, I felt like the Celtics had the better team. They were winning 65% they were up on the score 65% of the time with the first 4 games or something like that. Mm-hmm. Miami didn't keep a lead throughout a game until game 4 or something like that, where they completely dismantled us, and got the belief, like Barry was saying, to do what they did against us. I definitely was disappointed in Daniel Tice. Daniel Tice fouled out twice during that series, and he pretty much had only one good game, and every other game he pretty much kind of single-handedly put us in foul trouble. You know what I'm saying? He's so sporadic. He's kind of like a spaz. You know what I'm saying? I like Daniel Tice, but clearly he got exposed in this series, and you see why the Celtics need a good quality starting center. Not to bash Tice or anything. He's a serviceable center. He's great off the bench. He's gotten so much better too. He's gotten so much better,
improved a lot,
and still needs so much more improvement. You know what I'm saying? Because Bam destroyed this man.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Was the leading scorer in the whole series. You know what I'm saying? Was going in at will, was getting lobs, catching everything. Every move he made, they knew that Bam was gonna get Tice in foul trouble every single game, and every single game Tice fell for the bait and went for everything. And then the guys like complaining to the ref the whole time, right? You know, which is really annoying to me as, you know, as a fan, you know, 'cause it's like, dude, it's like the guy's never fouled one time in his career.
Well, there were a couple of tough calls
for sure.
I'm sure I understand his frustration, but you're right. The majority of the time, it was pretty blatant that it was a foul and he made contact with the player. So no, I hear what you're saying, John.
Yeah, I just feel like, you know, he could have put himself in control a little bit, you know what I'm saying, throughout the series, and I don't think he did that. I felt like Brad messed up by not inserting Canner in the lineup, you know, in the first couple of games earlier, because like he was energetic off the bench.
The game we won, and that's when the game. What was it? Game 3.
Game three.
That's when he kept scoring in the paint.
Yes.
He did his thing,
and then he did his thing in Game 5 too. You know, I didn't see Robert Williams at all. You know, I don't know what that was all about.
I did see him a little bit, but I thought he was gonna get in more. After the series against Toronto, I thought he was gonna get it.
I thought he could at least, you know, guard Bam a little better. You know, more physical, more athletic, shot blocker. You know what I'm saying? Like, put somebody out there. You know, I feel like, you know, even though he's a little jumpy himself, but I feel like he has good passing. And you know, those lobs and stuff, like, because we were throwing up lobs to people like Jaylen Brown, and those shits were not connecting. You know what I'm saying? No matter who was trying to lob whatever, you know. And I feel like every series, like, the coach has to scheme you into a win, and I don't think Brad Stevens did that at all this whole series. Like, there's not one game where I felt like that was a Brad Stevens game where everything he called was like on the money.
I'm gonna give him Game 5.
Game 5 where is it Game 5 or Game 3?
I think it was probably Game 3.
Game 3 is it Game 3 that we started attacking the zone?
It was.
When did Gordon Hayward come back?
Game 3.
Game 3. Okay, so that was it. Where 3, you know, he threw Hayward in there, and Hayward was, you know, he figured it out. But then, you know, I think Hayward was still hurt.
That's what I was trying to tell you guys too. You guys remember a couple Sundays ago? I was trying to tell you guys, I like get Hayward back, but I don't think we needed him back. You remember that? Because I just thought it was too early, and those 2 games were so winnable. Those first 2 games were so winnable that I'm like, if we had won those games, we wouldn't have thrown Gordon Hayward in so early. He would have came in, maybe play 5 minutes, play 10 minutes, play 15 minutes. But because we let ourselves down in those 2 games, now we were stuck. We had to do something.
Yeah, exactly. They had no other choice. Not a good point.
But I mean, even I'm not even giving Brad Stevens that, because players. I mean, Hayward's a pretty smart dude. You know what I'm saying? That's why when he's out there, things are a lot easier for everybody else, because he does have a really good flow of the offense. He's a good ball handler. He's the best passer they got on offense. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and when you know, guys are covered, he can make a shot. You know what I'm saying? So he came back, and I feel like a lot of that stuff was off pure energy, because, you know, he went in and did his thing. I think he only had 6 points, but he definitely had impact on the game.
But after that, he was
ineffective.
He was really invisible.
He was invisible, man.
Yeah.
You know, one other guy, other than Brad Stevens, and I think this is Brad Stevens' fault, is I'm disappointed in the Marcus Smarts of the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, granted, you know, he's one of our leaders and things like that, so hear me out. You know, in Game 6, in a lot of the games, Marcus Smart was taking more shots than Jaylen Brown was. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like it's the coach's job to tell, yo, bro, you're not that efficient. Jaylen Brown, you see his stat line. You know what I'm saying? Every time Jaylen Brown scored in the 20s, we would win games. Right. So it's like, why are we not scheming more shit for Jaylen Brown? Why is Jaylen Brown in the corner and Marcus Smart is
waiting for the ball?
Is chucking up threes with, you know, 18 seconds left on the fucking clock. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I feel like, you know, his success sometimes gets to his head.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, he was playing well, you know, against Toronto. He went off, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and, you know, it's kind of like he has that green light to just go and chuck it up whenever he feels like it sometimes. And I'm like, it's such the wrong time to do that.
I think he had a good game 1 too. I think he had like a good game 1.
Yes,
played
where he scored like 21 points.
something like
you know
that,
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It gets to his head.
It gets
He
to his
does.
head.
He gasses himself up. Yeah,
Where I feel like it's Brad Stevens' job to say, hey, you know, Marcus, you need to wean that back a little bit. Like, you're great on defense. You're our energy guy. Get on defense. Get the ball back. Rebound. Big guard. That should be your main focus. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way Marcus Smart should ever be out shooting Jaylen Brown, all right? And you need to create more plays for Jaylen Brown. And it's like, the guy's a number 3 overall pick, man. You know what I'm saying?
He's good.
Like, he's great.
Jalen,
And
when Jalen is on, Jalen is like sometimes I feel as though the Celtic goes as far as Jalen goes.
yes.
It's a
Come
good
on,
point.
game
No,
5, the guy
that's
comes
a good
in, he
point.
plays like a fucking animal. He drops 28. We win. I'm not gonna say handedly, but
It was a good win.
It wasn't like
It was a
you
good
know
win.
we were all stressed out the whole game.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
Jaylen Brown scored 28. Tatum scored 26 or something like that
Yeah, he had
in
like
the game.
27
Come
or
on,
29, right.
It's
right.
like those guys are the engine to the team. Let the guys create. You know what I'm saying? You got to live and die with those guys. And when I'm looking at game 6, you know, and what was the other game where he had that last 3-pointer, he didn't make it in the corner? Maybe that was game 3.
No, that was game 3.
Or
I'm
game
talking about
2.
Game 2.
Game 2.
Where he
Yes.
had that corner 3 and he missed it.
He missed it.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, come on, man. Jaylen Brown is at his best when he
No, but he was
is.
making those
He
shots
was,
earlier.
he
in the
was,
game.
and it was close too.
It was a close shot, but what I'm saying is like when Jaylen Brown is waiting in the corner, he's not attacking the basket. It's
And
not
sometimes you
helping
can hear him
our
clapping. You can
team.
see him clapping his
the
hand.
whole time, bro.
Give it to me. Give it
Give
to
it
me.
to me,
right,
man. You know,
And I think that's where some of their friction comes
Yes.
in, because the friction was between Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart, and I think
Yeah.
you know Marcus Smart was trying to call everybody out, and then Jaylen Brown was trying to say, "Hey, listen, it's all of our fault." And
Yeah.
Marcus Smart didn't like that, so I think they have a little friction between them, anyways. But you're
What?
right. But you're right. It's Brad Stevens.
I think Jaylen Brown made a fuss about not getting the right shots too. You know,
Maybe he
during
did, I
that
don't
whole
know.
thing with
Yeah,
Marcus
I remember
Smart.
him
and when
saying
he was
that.
like,
You're
Right,
back
right.
on your bullshit again.
It's like Marcus, bro. Like you can't be chucking up fucking threes, you know, with 15 seconds left on the clock, and you got, you know, pretty much 3 other All-Stars on the team, bro. You know what I'm saying? You got
For
Kemba,
real.
you got, you know, Gordon, who's a former. I mean, granted, he wasn't in the games, you know, prior to that. You know, you got Jaylen Brown, who should have been an All-Star, and then you know, JT. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man.
Right,
you know,
right. For
so
real.
I
He be
definitely was disappointed in
crazy.
that, and it's like sometimes, man, you just gotta know your role on the team and play
Facts.
it to the best of your ability. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't need like if Marcus Smart is rescuing us offensively, then we're doing bad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Pretty much.
It's just
Yep.
not good, you know. But you know, unfortunately, we didn't win the game. And you know, I felt like the Celtics would have, you know, the finals going on right now, the Celtics would have been a better fit for the finals right now. But maybe that's too early. We it's still only game 3, and we haven't seen the rest of the series. But I don't know. Watching the finals, which we're gonna be talking about soon. You know, I felt like the Celtics, you know, they did themselves a disservice not making it to Game 7, not giving them a chance to get to the finals, man.
I mean, they did themselves a disservice in so many ways.
So many ways.
Before I go into that, I want to give credit to the Heat.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
No doubt.
Bam Adebayo played unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Game 6, Game 5, I think he had like a wrist thing or something.
Yep.
And then Game 6, he played crazy. Like
Well, he said Game 5 I didn't play well, and then
Yeah.
Game 6 he came out and fucking
Game 6,
buried us.
Yeah, went off.
he's the one that killed us, really.
Yeah.
In Game 6.
Oh, yeah.
Tyler Hero had his game.
37.
George had his game. Like everybody at Flazzo affected the game in so many ways. Jimmy Butler was not like superhuman in that series, but you know he was like there was sometimes in the fourth quarter you couldn't stop Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
In that series.
Right.
And so he picked his spot and he made sure his team won. And Spoelstra was unbelievable, especially on the defensive side.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And stopping the Celtics from scoring. Like
I don't know, man.
we went stretches without scoring sometimes. Like it was unbelievable.
Yeah, particularly in Game 6. Oh yeah.
Listen, man, you can tell on the sideline sometimes, on the other sideline, on the side of the court, like how intense Spoelstra is, and then you go to our bench and it's like, good job, guys. You know, all we got to do is, come on, man, put some fire under your ass, man. Come on, man. You're in the fucking Eastern Conference Finals. I know
right.
you're a laid back dude, but sometimes it takes like, yo, get this fucking thing on the road, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to do something. I don't mean yelling, but you got to be at least stern or turn it over to somebody like Haslam or something to you know, ream out the fucking team and do something. You know what I mean?
One thing I want to say though is I think the Celtics. I'm sorry. Maybe you were gonna get into that.
Well, I mean that was gonna be the next thing. You know, like. Because, I mean, we're in the offseason now. You know, what moves should the Celtics make, you know, in the short offseason? And then how do you guys think the Celtics fit, you know, what they're looking like for the 2021 season?
That was going to be my point. My point is I think the Celtics missed such an opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So like you were saying earlier, we possibly could have been a better fit in the finals. We don't know yet, but maybe we could have played the Lakers a lot better than the Heat played them in game 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Right? They played them well in game 3, which is good, but game 1 and 2, man, it looked like a slaughter out there.
Yeah, overmatched.
Varsity versus
and we
JV.
don't think, and we personally don't think the Celtics would have looked that bad against
Offensively, no.
against the Heat, against the Lakers.
Right.
But also in the Eastern Conference, I think it was a great opportunity for the Celtics to be in the finals this year, because next year, I feel like the competition is gonna rise a lot more. The Heat are gonna be better. The Nets are gonna be better.
Yeah, with KD and Kyrie back. Yeah.
I personally think the Sixers are gonna be better with
Doc Rivers.
Doc
Who's the head
Rivers.
coach.
So
They finally have an actual head coach.
and I think they will be better. Like,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And Toronto is gonna be. They were good this year, and they will be good again. And they'll be better. I believe they'll be better. And we don't know what's gonna happen with Giannis. If Giannis go to Miami, then it's over.
Right, that's true, but it could be over. But I think he'll probably stay with the Bucks for one more.
Probably, yeah.
But I'm sure the Bucks will be better, and they'll make some moves and do some things with that team to improve it and to make Giannis want to stay.
Yeah,
But those are quite a few teams that are going to be just as good, if not better than the Celtics. Good point.
So all I'm saying is this was a perfect year to get to the finals.
This was the year.
And that's why I put so much blame on Brad Stevens and Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker for being the elder statement on the team, the
veteran guy.
the veteran in the team.
I also think Kemba wasn't fully right, man.
Man,
I don't think he was fully right.
Hey, I don't want to make that excuse though.
Man,
I felt like he lacked a lot of explosion. Like he was moving slow at times, and I'm like that doesn't.
I couldn't believe it. Like sometimes he would get to the paint. You know how he stops on a dime and take a shot?
Yeah.
In this series, he would stop on a dime and pass the ball.
Yep.
And I
But
hated
he wasn't
that.
looking to shoot when
I
he
hated
stopped on
that.
He didn't have
right.
confidence
We weren't
in the
aggressive
shot,
enough.
man.
We weren't aggressive. It was, man. But anyways, yeah, I don't know what move we're gonna make. I mean, obviously we want a center. We want somebody in the paint. I feel as though that's where the Celtics. That's one of the things that the Celtics are missing. But I don't know where we're gonna get that or what we should get.
Right. That's certainly a move that they need to make, is getting a quality big man that can, give them some good minutes and be a better paint presence. That, that's certainly something that we're missing as we saw in this series. But I think other things that they could get, I think they need to get better shooters. They need more, shooters.
Specialist.
Exactly. Like, guys that can make shots consistently, that when they shoot the ball, it's going in, instead of when they shoot the ball, you're not saying, oh no, or you're not sure whether it's going to go in or not. Right. That would certainly be a good fit for this team. And because not only is he a really good shooter, but he also gives them that veteran leadership and that experience that they need. So a guy that has had success and won in this league that can pretty much set a good example for the young guys and show them what they need to do and what it takes to win. So they definitely need more shooters, because they have decent shooters, but they don't have great shooters. The Celtics. So that's definitely something they're going to need to get, and then they're also going to need to get, and the good point that John said was veteran role players and veteran leadership. Like, I think they need a Udonis Haslem, or they need someone that has been there and that has actually won a championship and that knows, how to win and knows what, how to push this team's buttons and really, show this team what it takes to be a champion. They were missing that this year, because since no one has really been there before to the finals and actually won a championship. So I think that's why they, underachieved like they did in the Heat series. So I think there's something that's certainly going to have to be looked at by Danny Ainge and Brad Stevens and the rest of that front office group with the Celtics. I think those are the things that they're going to need to add in order for the Celtics to be a real championship team, and more bench scoring as well. They have to improve the bench, because the bench was terrible in this series, and we really didn't get anything out of them with the exception of one, 2 games. I'd probably say Game 5 was the only good game that the bench had, but other than that, they didn't really play well. So definitely upgrading the bench is going to be, I think, the biggest thing, that they're going to have to do to improve the team and make them a championship contender for next year.
Yeah, man. I'm thinking Miles Turner, bro. That's the one guy I feel like, man, if we get that guy, if we had Miles Turner in the playoffs, man, it would have been crazy. I think I saw
able to match up with Ben. Right.
I think I saw a stat where it like listed the most blocks in the NBA playoffs, and Daniel Tice was number 1, and then Miles Turner was like number 3 on the list, and Miles Turner got eliminated like first round. You know what I'm saying? So it's
4
like,
games, right.
The guy had like 16 blocks in 4 games. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
Can you imagine if we have that? We got somebody to actually defend the paint. Athletic, could shoot the 3. And then. The Pacers seem like they favor Sabonis more than Turner anyway, so I feel like he could be had in a trade.
Well, do they play the same position? I thought Sabonis is like more of a 4 or 3, and Miles Turner is a 5.
Plus, they drafted that rookie last year too, who's pretty good. Who is also a big man.
That rookie big guy?
Yes, he's pretty good.
To play him more.
Exactly. So I think Turner's something to be had right there. But, just a serviceable big man, period, like Barry was saying, we definitely need those specialists to come in, to do certain things, the 3-point specialist, and I agree, the bench killed us, man.
Absolutely.
We had no production on the bench at all. I think Brad Stevens needs to evaluate the guys he's drafted, like the Carson Edwards. Like, if you can make a move with these guys, you got to make it, because
Well, it's Danny Ainge, right?
Danny Ainge.
Yeah.
Like, if you can make a move, you got to make a move with these guys, because
Absolutely.
Obviously our team is good enough to compete in the playoffs now. So like, what are we waiting for? We really don't have time.
We need to get better fast.
We need to get going.
We need to
get going. Like, what is Carson Edwards gonna help us when he's going to the G League and coming back up? Every 10 days or whatever the hell it was. It's like put Tremont Waters out there because he looks like he's more capable of learning and actually being a capable point guard out there than Carson Edwards. You know what I'm saying? And
no, he deserves more minutes.
Romeo Langford, injured every other game he plays. So it's like, nothing we did worked.
But they like Langford, though. So
I like Langford too.
The Ainge likes him.
But he definitely needs time to heal,
but
he needs to sleep in a high.
I don't think we have time for that, though.
We don't.
No, that's true.
We don't.
Like,
if the time,
if they say they traded Langford, and some of those guys, I'm okay with that.
Listen, man, you got the NBA draft coming up. You got pieces, you got draft picks. Go up and get one of the big mans in the draft, man. You know what I'm saying?
They have the 14th pick in the draft.
I was listening to Felger Maz a couple years ago, and I remember Felger was saying the Lakers will win a championship before the Celtics does.
Yeah.
And it's looking like that right now.
Oh,
he was saying that at the time where the Lakers sucked, like when they were missing the playoffs.
Yeah.
And before they got LeBron.
And we were going to 2 consecutive Eastern Conference final at that time.
Well, we were overachievers at the time.
Yeah, we were over. And when he was saying it, I was like, man, I hope that's not true.
Yeah.
And then.
Yeah, and then turns out it looks like it is going to be true.
Today's looking true. So.
Hey, man.
Yeah, right.
And I think that goes back to our conversation that we had last week about how the Lakers attract certain stars and the Celtics just cannot.
Yeah.
That goes back to our conversation.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's it, man. But we definitely didn't do ourselves a service, keeping all these freaking draft picks. Like we need a move. You know what I'm saying? We got to do things. And I think Danny.
Well, we got some good things out of it with.
Yeah, we did
with Tatum and.
Yeah, but all the other draft picks that we got, it's like last year we had all these guys. Grant Williams, Langford.
I thought Grant Williams did all right.
He did all right, but Grant Williams.
But is that somebody you want to rely on?
Is he gonna? Is he gonna play? Is he gonna play Bam? Is he gonna?
That's not somebody you can rely on.
Rely on, and that could be part of a championship rotation right now. No, I'm definitely with you on that. A quick question I wanted to ask you guys before we wrap up this Celtics segment is: should we look to move Gordon Hayward in the obviously going to move that contract because he's set for a player option worth $34 million this year, and he's obviously going to opt into that. So
I heard he said he's opting in.
Who's in love with Gordon Hayward out there?
No, I'm just
He's asking you a question.
No, I'm just asking the question. I'm not saying.
And that's my answer to the question.
Like him, Brad Stevens might like him. Danny Ainge might like him. That front office might like him. But other than that, I don't think anyone else likes him on this team.
I don't. If we trade Gordon Hayward, I don't think we get much for him at all. Just based on what's been happening, I think it does better for us if we keep him and he actually performs here because. Other than that, we don't have any. He doesn't have really too much value, and it makes us look bad too, man. It makes us look bad if we keep trading injured players. You know what I'm saying? Because the Isaiah Thomas shit looked bad. And I think sometimes that could scare other free agents.
But they had to do that.
I feel like that could scare other free agents into not signing here because what they keep saying. We know it's a business and. The teams are not loyal, but at the end of the day, the players want to go somewhere where they feel like the organization has their back. If some shit happens to them, they're not going to be traded automatically. And I feel like Danny Ainge already kind of, did that with Isaiah Thomas, and I don't know if he wants to do that with Gordon Hayward.
But it's a business at the end of the day, and you have to do what's best for the team to help the team.
I don't think they win the title without Gordon Hayward playing.
I'm not so sure about that, John.
Who would we trade Gordon Hayward for?
Then you could get a serviceable big for him.
Who?
Like a Steven Adams, for example. Like you can get a valuable piece for that. Especially, wouldn't you like to move that contract so you feel good about paying him?
Of course. I'm not saying not to trade him. I'm saying it makes us look bad, and who are we gonna trade him for?
Do you think OKC will take him?
I don't think so.
Barry.
Probably not.
With all the injuries, he hasn't done shit here.
So I agree that I mean, you guys know how I feel about Gordon Hayward.
Right.
And I wouldn't mind them moving Gordon Hayward for a serviceable big man.
Yeah.
At all, or some bench presence, or some shooters. Like I wouldn't mind that at all. And also that contract, I cannot stand that contract for what
to move that
for what we are getting back. But right now, I feel as though the value of Gordon Hayward is at an all-time low.
It is.
No,
That's what I'm saying. Like nobody's gonna take him right now.
We've seen Danny Ainge do some moves that nobody expected before. So if Danny can figure that out, he should.
Absolutely,
he 100% should.
Right,
it's at an all-time, because we were hoping, right? I remember when we first started this podcast, Gordon Hayward was playing well. Right before the pandemic started,
he was in the suspension.
He was playing. I was criticizing
20
him
points a game.
I was criticizing him because I didn't like his consistency.
Yep.
But he was giving us good minutes, right? And I think his value was rising, and I was definitely talking about trading him. But now he got injured. He came back. He didn't look good the last 3-4 games he played, or 2 games, I don't know, whatever. And then 4 games.
Yeah, 4 games. He didn't play well. You're right.
And then that's it. Like, if you're trying to like trade him right now and the team is looking, hey, I don't know, man. Like, he hasn't really looked that good. I don't want to. Even if I think he's gonna do good with my team, I'm gonna try to lowball you.
Listen, man.
You know what I mean? I'm going to be like, he hasn't played well. Why do you think I'm going to give you that much for him?
Ainge has a history of that, of lowballing, other teams in trades. So,
we'll see.
He's done that before. You're right.
I think
I do think Ainge can pull out the fireworks, though. He's done it before, so I don't doubt that he can do it.
That's why they call him Trader Danny. Right.
I think the best route for Danny right now with the Gordon Hayward situation is for him to renegotiate his contract, but we know he's gonna opt in. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. As the player
I mean, if he cares about the team and he's, I mean, there's no way his wife's gonna be like, yeah, take 50% off.
His wife is always like
involved,
meddling into that kind of. So
Listen, we're gonna take our money. You know what I'm saying? 34 mil.
We just got a new son.
We're just in an unfortunate situation with that dude right now. And. Unfortunately, man, his stint here just hasn't been great at all.
I wish it worked.
Before he came here, he was not injured like this. And
I was excited for him.
He was an all-star caliber player, right?
He's injured all the time, and then it's, but listen, man, if Danny Ainge could do something, great. But I don't think Hayward is like terrible for the Celtics. I think he definitely helps us out when he is healthy and he can play and he makes us more dynamic and stuff like that. But
I think if we can do it, we should do it. But if we cannot, I also think he could be better.
Yeah, I saw this trade proposal online. I think it was off of like BuzzFeed for them to trade Marcus Smart, Time Lord, Gordon Hayward for Oladipo and Miles Turner. How you feel about that?
Oladipo. Say that again.
So
Marcus
that's
Smart.
Time Lord, Marcus Smart, and Gordon Hayward for Oladipo and Miles Turner.
Oladipo gets injured.
I don't know if I do
exactly.
That doesn't make you better.
I love Oladipo. No, Oladipo can be a baller. He can be a killer. That's somebody like that has the ball at the end of the game.
Yep.
That can kill you.
Yep.
Like for sure. But he's been injured almost every year. Every year he's missed 20 games or something like.
Right, just as much as Hayward.
Yeah,
right.
So
I don't know.
But he's better than Hayward.
Of course, he's a much better player than Hayward. Right. When he's healthy, but just.
Man, I don't know.
Yeah, man.
He just can't stay healthy and stay on the court.
It's not real. It's just like
that's
shit they're just throwing out there. And they associate every other player with us.
I like all the people though.
One player that is I don't know, intriguing to me. I know he's a hothead and stuff like that. Cousins.
Man, I love Cousins.
If we could get him to like do something,
You want Boogie Cousins?
I love Cousins, but
When Boogie's
But the rumor-
on, he's on, bro.
but the rumor had always been, Brad Stevens cannot handle him or something like that. So.
I mean, look what
They
happened
don't
with
want
Kyrie.
that drama and that kind of energy in the locker room.
But I like Boogie though.
Listen, man, Brad Stevens is a leader
Yeah,
of.
but he's not the same player. He's another
He
guy
has-
that's
he
been injured
hasn't
a
been
lot
the same
lately.
player.
Right.
I think he hasn't played in like 2 years now.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
It's gonna take a while for him to get back.
I think-
even if he can get back, it's gonna take a while for him to get back to who he was.
I think the Celtics should at least take a look if he's like doing the rounds and going to visit people, because I think we didn't look at him when he signed with the Warriors. I think so. We definitely need to be on the lookout for that. But I think definitely the Eastern Conference is gonna look a lot better next year, man.
Yeah, sure
And,
will.
But there is hope for the Celtics because we can't forget that the leaders of the team, they're like 22 and 23.
Right, in their early
You know what I'm
20s.
saying?
Right.
And if the Celtics had made it to the finals, they would have been the youngest Celtics. They would have been the youngest team ever to make it to the finals. So
Yeah, facts.
put that in perspective. They're still learning, and I think they're still gonna compete for a long time. And I think they're just learning. Jason Tatum is just scratching the surface right now. If he gets stronger and a little bit faster in the upcoming years, he's gonna be a real problem. And he already is. So.
More consistent.
More
Right,
consistent.
absolutely.
We'll see how that goes, but we're gonna move on, man, to the NBA Finals that's happening right now with the Los Angeles Lakers versus Miami Heat. They played 3 games so far. Miami took the game last night, and the Lakers lead 2-1 right now. And so far, we've seen the superstars doing what they're supposed to do. We're talking about LeBron and Anthony Davis. The first 2 games they pretty much dominated
Balled
everything.
out.
They balled out. They they made Miami look dumb.
That was barbecue
And,
chicken for him. Absolutely.
A lot of injuries came out of that. Grogic got injured. Bam got injured. Jimmy Butler has, an ankle issue, but he balled out last night and had a 40-point triple-double last night.
Yeah.
And now, the series is 2-1. What are you guys seeing in this series? And given that the Heat took 1 game last night, do you guys think they can push a series to more than 5 games?
I mean, I'm a supporter of Jimmy Butler and a supporter of the Heat. As in, like, I'm hoping for them to win this series. But at the same time, I understand that they are facing the 2-horn bull.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The two-headed monster.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you got LeBron, and then you got AD. AD played crazy in game 1 and 2. Like, I was very impressed.
Oh, yeah.
Very impressed by his intensity, the way he played, his effort was relentless.
Oh, yeah.
I was very impressed. Because since he left the Pelicans, I haven't watched him too much, but he's been crazy.
Incredible,
The
man.
whole playoffs. The whole playoffs has been crazy. I mean, right now he's on pace for a Finals MVP.
Well, I don't know now after last night's performance.
Well, that's true.
Because,
LeBron,
but he had
LeBron almost had a triple-double last night again.
Yeah, I did see that. But he had 2 great games, and if he has 2 more great games to help them win, I don't know. It's good. I think he might win. But anyways, Jimmy Butler was unbelievable Sunday night. He was unbelievable. 40 triple-double, 40 points, 13 assists, 11 rebounds.
Drug test that guy.
Nah.
I'm just saying he played. He played his mind out last night.
My dude is just balling out, and
He
that's
played out of control.
That's the kind of game sometimes I wish I saw from some of the Celtics.
Thank you.
When
Even a Tyler Hero game. Celtics.
When Jason Tatum is not hot, or Brown is not hot, or like I want somebody like Kemba to step up, or
Kill this
or
shit.
Tatum to step up when those 2 are not hot. You know what I mean? Like I want somebody to just like, hey,
Take
I got this
responsibility.
game. But I really wanted that from Kemba.
Yeah.
I wanted Kemba to step up and show me, tonight I'm gonna win this game for us. 40 points, because we're not there. Not everybody's there, but I'm the leader.
You got to have the will to win, man.
And I just never saw that from any of the Celtics.
Yeah.
I saw that a little bit from Tatum. I think I saw that a little bit from Tatum. Even the game where he didn't score, he scored 0 points in the first half.
Came back, had 28.
He came back that half, the second half, and scored 28 points. That was incredible.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, how?
So
What was the other guys doing?
I saw that a little bit in him, but it wasn't consistent enough. It wasn't there enough to win us multiple games. So, man, I've been a fan of Jimmy Butler since he's been in the league. Everywhere he goes, that team has always gotten better, even though those relationships really sour at the end. But I feel as though that's because those teams were usually not about it.
Because he has high expectations.
Yeah,
because they have that same mentality, mindset.
Exactly.
Right.
Because I remember last year when he was with the Philadelphia Sixers, and I was like, if Jimmy Butler takes over the Sixers, because he would, because he's the one with the biggest balls in that locker room.
Oh, by far.
And if he had take over, they would be in the finals right now.
Absolutely.
And they would be giving the Lakers a lot of problem right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a lot of problem.
For sure, they would be able to match up.
We would not have swept the Sixers if Jimmy Butler was.
Hell no.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, I don't think either. I agree with that.
Even with Brett Brown.
I know. right. That would have been like the only difference.
Nevertheless, the first two games of the finals were underwhelming because of how Miami played, and the game was over usually in the third quarter. So it was underwhelming because I'm looking, because the playoffs in the bubble have been really good, right, guys? It's been very entertaining. So I want the finals to be as entertaining, and the first two games were not as entertaining. Like, it was entertaining in the beginning, and then once AD and LeBron were clicking, it was all over.
Game over, right?
So half of the time I'm playing video games, and the game is over because I'm just not like that into it, because the game is over by the third quarter or something.
Right.
But last night was different. Last night, like we said. Oh, sorry, Sunday night for you listeners. Sunday night was different. The Jimmy Butler balled out and got the Heat back into the series. I think.
But even then, they almost lost the game.
Yeah, like,
right. With his,
it's kind of like the Celtics games.
Yeah,
versus the Heat.
I think.
Role reversal.
For real. Facts.
When is Adebayo coming back?
I think he's coming back next game, but
he still come back next game.
I don't think that does anything, because like shoulders are, he's a basketball player, man, in his position. It's like,
it's not like he got better.
Exactly,
it's not like he got better in 2 days.
Yeah. Like, if you were bad enough to be out a game, like,
for the sake of watching competitive basketball, I want the Heat to win game four. Game four. Yeah, make it a series. But my common sense tells me I think the Lakers might handle that.
Oh, they're gonna come out crazy.
Oh yeah. I mean, those definitely brought up some pretty good points in about the series. I think certainly the Lakers have shown that they're, when they've played well and when they've been on top of their game, they're by far the, better, more talented team between these two teams. Particularly AD and LeBron have, when they've been at their best, there's just been no answer for them. It's been barbecue chicken for them, particularly in the first two games where they just had their way and did whatever they wanted to do without any resistance from the Miami Heat defense. So, and it was kind of surprising because a team that usually, plays hard and, shows a lot of effort and energy and a lot of grit. We didn't really see that in the Miami Heat too much in the first two games. And it was crazy that Udonis Haslem had tell them in the huddle in game 2 when he went off and gave him that speech to play harder. Like, that was like really, really weird and really shocking to me that, you actually have to tell a team that hangs their hat on, playing hard and outworking the opponent and playing with that grit and that energy and intensity to play harder. That's something that should never happen, and that was definitely concerning for me, because that's the way the Heat are gonna be able to make this a series. And they didn't do that the first 2 games, but luckily they did that in Game 3. I thought their effort on both ends of the floor, particularly on defense, was much better. I thought their rotations were good. I thought the defense they played on Anthony Davis was really good, and they made it tough on him pretty much the whole game. And not only being able to to keep him from getting into the paint, but also forcing him to take tough shots. I think they did a good job of that in game 3, and and then they played much better offensively. Butler was Jimmy buckets. He certainly did he had his best game by far of the playoffs and willed that team to a victory on Sunday. He pretty much did everything. Not only was he being aggressive and in attack mode from the jump, which sometimes that's not the case with him, but he certainly did that on Sunday. But he was also getting his teammates involved and looked to make plays and get other guys shots, as well as getting himself going. So
13 assists.
Right, exactly. Right, he was dishing dimes out there and finding those shooters, and those shooters were making shots and making plays for him. So I think that was impressive that they were able to win that game without Gordon Dragic and Bam Adebayo, 2 key players in their lineup and rotation. Definitely they're gonna need to do the same in game 4, but I still not sure if that's gonna be enough, because we know the Lakers always have like that one game where they just kind of like relax and chill and take their foot off the gas and are on like cruise control and don't play as well as they do in the other games. So I think last night that was their one game. So I'm still gonna say the Lakers win this series in 5 games. I still think that they'll be able to win game 4 on Tuesday, and that LeBron and Anthony Davis will play much better and and be different in game 4. I mean, LeBron played, I thought, all right. In game 3, he did turn over the ball a lot, had 7 turnovers, and that was the impressive thing with Jimmy Butler, was not only was he able to do what he did on offense, but he also guided LeBron James on defense as well, and did a really good job on him. So that being able to have energy to play both ends of the floor at a high level was by far the most impressive thing to me, and what stood out to me in game 3. But nonetheless, I still think the Lakers have controlled this series and will most likely win this next 2 games and close this thing out in 5 games on I believe on Thursday. So we'll see what happens, but I still do think the Heat have a chance to make this a series if they do win game 4. But I don't know if they'll have enough, depending on if they get Bam or Dragic back. So we'll see what happens with that.
This whole series kind of like reminds me of what do you call that movie? The Little Giants. You guys know that movie, right?
Yep.
The Little Giants. You know the movie? Where the coach goes, in that one game, guys, you got one game. We're going to go out there. And it's kind of like that, because the the Lakers, you know, kind of like every other series they've played, they just look so much bigger than them, man. You know, they got Dwight, JaVale, and Anthony Davis in the paint, dude.
I've never watched that movie, by the way.
You never watched it?
No.
Bro, it's one of the
Never
greatest
seen it?
movies all time, man.
Yeah, you gotta see
Straight
it,
up,
man.
you
You
have
gotta
to see
check
that.
that out. Right.
You know, that's a really good sports movie, and I'm not even gonna hold it against you because you know you're Haitian, and you know that's not in our household. But it's a really good movie. It's entertaining. It's funny. It's old now, but it's a classic. You know what I'm saying?
is, absolutely.
I think you'll enjoy it. But you know, that's kind of what it reminded me of. And last night, AD got in foul trouble. And I mean, Sunday night, AD got in foul trouble pretty early. He had like 3 fouls in like the first 2 quarters or something like that.
But he had 2 in the first quarter.
Yeah,
early, right.
exactly. So he was on the bench a lot, and obviously, you know, the points that he got, you know, he had 15 points. That's not like him, and I don't expect him to have 15 points, you know, next game.
Game
you know,
4, right,
Like,
right.
there's no way. There's just no way Miami's gonna take 4 games away from the Lakers, given the start of the series.
It looks impossible.
No, they're definitely not gonna win 4 games.
But I would love it.
It would be.
That would be awesome.
Listen, if anything, I'd love to see a game 7. You know what I'm saying? If anything,
Game 7 in
that
the
would be
finals?
Crazy. That would be crazy.
Oh man, I'd love that.
I don't think that's
it's
gonna happen
either, but that would definitely
But
be awesome.
that's my thing. I just want to see like a good series, like a good long series. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
at least 6 games, at least.
I just think, you know, they're overmatched, and you know, Bam is great, but I think people forget that Bam is only 6'8", man. Like, he's not, you know, the biggest guy out there, and you know, everybody around him is 6'11", 7 foot tall. You know what I'm saying? With Dwight, JaVale, and Anthony Davis. So
right,
and,
he's the
and
same
he's
size as
also
LeBron.
injured. He's also injured. So, you know,
Right.
it's gonna be hard for him to come through and like do what Bam thinks. You know what I'm saying? I think Miami rebounded last night. They're not gonna do that again. You know, for the next games. You know what I'm saying? Just because the Lakers are just too big. But regardless, you know, I just want to see a good series. But I do agree with Barry that, you know, I think the game 4 Lakers are going to come out. You know what I think happens? They definitely let their foot off the gas just because of the way games 1 and 2 started, you know. The first game, Miami went up like up 20 or something like that, and then, you know, by halftime they were down like 30 or something like that. I forgot what the scores was, but it just doesn't look good. Their zone is not working for the Lakers at all.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
the Lakers learned from the Celtics too. 'cause
Exactly.
Right,
they
how to attack the zone.
They put
right.
somebody right in the middle of that zone, and they just know how to attack it.
Exactly.
And also, LeBron's passing is overcoming that zone as well.
Oh,
and also, they're so much taller. It's
Yep.
easier for them to stay in the paint and take a shot and just ignore that zone.
Every game other than last night when LeBron has the ball, there's 5 Miami guys converging to LeBron and leaving everybody else open. And last night I thought it was different because everybody was actually sticking to their assignment. But there was definitely like uncharacteristic rebounds that the Heat got over the Lakers that I'm like, that doesn't happen in every game. You know what I'm saying? So I think they had a really good game. But I think, you know, we've covered pretty much everything we need to for this series. And like we mentioned earlier, Doc Rivers got fired by the Clippers and then hired by Philadelphia in 3 days. So we'll see what happens with that. And last, but, you know, not least, because with this guy, because he always somehow comes up, Kyrie Irving. So the story is Kyrie Irving was a guest on a podcast for his teammate Kevin Durant. And
Who is he doing that podcast with?
he has a host. I don't know the name of the host.
Isn't it like the boardroom or something like that? His,
Okay.
Yeah, that's like his brand, Katie's brand, and
I heard about it because he made an appearance on the Joe Budden podcast and he talked about it briefly.
Yeah. You know, all the athletes are getting podcasts now, man, and you know, and we run podcasts, and what's the best thing to do? You got to make noise, right?
Yeah.
To get your podcast out there, so you got to say outrageous shit. And I think this was one of them because Kyrie made a comment while he was actually their first guest. So if you want somebody to stir the pot, you bring fucking Kyrie Irving in.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm
definitely.
saying? Like, if he's gonna do anything else, he's gonna stir the pot. You know what I'm saying? And the comment we're talking about is the comment he made was, I felt like I was the best option on every team I've played for down the stretch. This is the first time in my career, referring to Kevin Durant, where I can look down and be like, that mother effer can make that shot too, And he also made some other comments where he actually said that they don't need a coach. It's a collaborative effort, and KD could be the coach. I could be the coach, and KD comes in. Jack Vaughn could be the coach. It's a collaborative effort. Sometimes like, dude, shut the fuck up. But I know you guys heard it, and I know you guys have some feelings about it. What are your thoughts?
I actually don't have too many feelings about it. It's just Kyrie talking Kyrie shit. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that comment is even more troublesome. The comment about I can be the coach, Kyrie can be the coach, or KD can be the coach. I think that smells like trouble coming for the Nets.
We don't need a coach bringing in his schemes and having us run first practice. Nah, I'm like. That's
more trouble. Like the I've never been on a team with other shooters. Come on, you've been in a team with LeBron James. Like I'm not gonna take that comment seriously. I saw that and I was like, yeah, that's Kyrie doing Kyrie.
Like you're
shit.
A clown, bro.
And I ignored it. But the comment about the coach smells like trouble for the Nets. So we should see what that does for the Nets next year.
Yeah.
No, but sure. These comments to me are absolutely, laughable and outrageous. I mean, I was just like legit laughing and was like, really, bro? Like, really, Kyrie? Like, here you go again, making some dumbass and stupid, comments that you clearly shouldn't be making and saying. I'm like, and then you try to say, oh, this wasn't a direct shot at LeBron James. Well, who else was it about then? Who else were you referring to when you made this comment? It was absolutely, it doesn't make any sense, why he would say this and why, he would come to this conclusion. But then again, this is like, we were just saying, this is Kyrie being Kyrie. Like, this is what he does, and this is what he says whenever you get him to speak and open his mouth. He's always gonna make some bullshit kind of comments on on any kind of podcast or show that you have him on. So I'm not too surprised by it, but I just think it's pretty funny that he went on the record and actually said, this statement. I mean, that coaching statement that he said too, that's definitely alarming without question. That's not a good look for him or for anybody on that team, and it definitely doesn't, particularly on Steve Nash, for sure, it doesn't look like they feel and have confidence that Steve Nash can do a good job and can be a good coach for the Nets. So I wouldn't be surprised if they get off to a bad start and things don't go well next season, because there could be some dysfunction between in that on that team after those comments. So that definitely wasn't a smart thing for him to say, and he kind of should have just kept that to himself. There's some things that are better off just left unsaid, and I think he needs to learn and understand that that sometimes you should just, like John said, shut the fuck up and not say anything, or just keep it to yourself and not make yourself look like a dumbass and an idiot.
Yeah, my biggest thing with that, man, is like, I mean, one, he played with LeBron James, like arguably the greatest player of all time, one of them anyway. So that right there just makes you look stupid. And the other thing is, bro, you haven't played one game with KD, man. Like, you haven't played one actual regular season game with KD at all.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You guys played in the Olympics together, and there's all-stars all over the place. So, like, and you're facing, you know, lesser talent on the world stage. So, like, what could you have possibly learned, you know, playing over there? You know, you guys haven't done anything together yet, you know, for you to say that. And it was he came out, you know, with, why do we have to put brother against brother? It's like, dude, shut up, man.
Right.
You know exactly what you were doing.
Exactly.
You did that shit on purpose.
Right.
And I think a lot of it has to do with the buzz, you know what I mean? For the show, you know, to bring it out. Because, like, they made it a commercial. It's a commercial. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you knew.
Commercial for the pod.
For the podcast.
Oh, yeah,
promoting
yeah,
it.
yeah,
So you knew this clip right there was going to give you the reactions that you needed to get your podcast, you know, up and running. You know what I'm saying? It's just, yo, this dude just says a lot of shit. It's like, you're going to talk about this shit, but then last year you're talking about, I had to call Braun and find out, you know, and apologize to him about, you know, the way I was acting. And I'm like, bro, like, do you remember you said that shit? You know? And I love the way LeBron came out and made that comment between him and AD. Like, you know, the reason we work is there's no jealousy between us. You know what I'm saying? It's like, boom, right there, bro. It's like, you left Cleveland because you were jealous. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah,
you know,
in your feelings.
because you wasn't the man there, and you wanted to be the man. And you know, LeBron came through and took over your shine. So you got pissed off and left. And then nobody liked you on the Celtics team. You know, you didn't do well here either. So it's like, bro, you're not a leader. And KD, if I'm KD, I take offense to what he said. It's like, what do you mean it's who's hot? It's like, bro, I'm one of the best scorers of all times. Like,
All time.
if we're down the stretch, bro, give me the fucking ball.
Facts, exactly.
Like, Kyrie, you're a point guard. Pass the fucking ball and move out the way. I'm a 7-foot monster, bro.
7-foot guard, exactly.
I'm going to give KD the ball.
Yes.
Yo, listen. 9 out of 10 times, I'm giving KD the ball, and I'm not giving the KD the ball because if he has been triple teamed or something.
Yeah.
That's the only time I don't give KD the ball.
I'm still giving him the ball.
Exactly. And I was just going to say 9 out of 10 should be 10 out of 10.
I'm still giving him the
like,
ball.
KD's the closer and the number one option and the guy on that team. Like, that's KD's team.
Remember when KD said, you know who I am? You know what I do?
Seriously. And for him not to step up and be like, chill. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you're so not a leader, KD.
I'll never forget that.
I'm surprised he didn't say anything back to him.
Because that's his teammate and they're trying to get along. But when KD was like, you know who I am? I'm Kevin Durant. Like, and then he came out and balled the next day.
Bro.
Listen. Before KD moved to
greatest press conference ever.
Before KD moved to Golden State, that was my favorite player, man, hands down. You know, and then he moved to Golden State, and I just couldn't stomach that shit. And then, you know, the whole burner account, I'm like, oh, you're fucking soft. You know what I'm saying? But hearing that shit, bro, it's like, bro, I'm fucking Kevin Durant, Kyrie. You know what I mean? Like, Kyrie, you
put some respect on my name. Yeah.
You've hit one notable shot in your career, all right? And it was next to, you know, one of the greatest shots.
Yeah, no, you're right.
One of the greatest shots, but don't discount that it was only one. You haven't done shit else after that. You haven't done anything in the playoffs. The last playoffs we saw you were trying to guard Giannis when they told you not to fucking guard Giannis. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why are you switching on to Giannis? You know what I mean? If you have Marcus Smart on your team, he's the only guard that should ever switch up on Giannis.
Well,
other than that,
switch a lot on the pick and roll, but you're right. They still, even with that,
listen,
you're right. There's no way he should be switching.
We had Isaiah Thomas the year prior. Did you ever see Isaiah Thomas end up on Giannis one time?
No.
Not fucking one time.
Not even when they switched on pick and roll.
Listen.
Maybe 1 or 2 times, but not as often as it was in that series.
Listen.
Let's stay focused.
Isaiah Thomas, if Giannis switches up on you, just move out of the way because he's gonna dunk on you. You know what I'm saying? Don't even get the fouls. Other than that, you never saw him guarding anything close to Giannis. You know what I'm saying? And the guy, man, good luck to the Brooklyn Nets, man. You know, I just want to move on. But good luck to the Nets. Good luck to Steve Nash.
That team could be a hot mess next year.
He's a fucking headache. And, like, you make your coach look bad sounding like that. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't need a coach coming in, you know, bringing in their philosophies and disrupting what we do. Bro, you've played like 20 games for this team. You haven't done shit to even establish any kind of, like, chemistry with your teammates. So, like, what are you talking about? And in the game, you need a leader, bro. Like, who's going to drop the plays? You're going to drop the plays when you come out of the game? Like, you going to sit there and tell come on, man.
Yeah, I guess he think he can be the coach and the player, right? That's what Kyrie thinks. Which is absolutely asinine.
What Nick Wright say, Kyrie is like a smart dude who thinks he's like really intelligent. He's like one of these dudes that has like a 112 IQ and thinks he has like 180 IQ. That's what Nick, and I don't agree a lot with that guy, but I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
No, that's facts. He does love gassing himself up.
Yeah, we've spoken about the NBA almost an hour and a half now, man. Let's move on to the NFL. The NFL, man.
Time flies.
Week 3 it just went by. We're in week 4 now.
Week 4 went by.
We're in week 4 now, and, you know, there's a lot that's going on around the league, man. So we saw the Titans versus Steelers game got postponed because, like, upwards of, like, 20 people got corona from the Titans.
Yeah, I think somebody, there was, like, a staffer, like a coach or something in the Titans that had the virus, and then multiple people caught the virus from that game.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, it was up to 16 people on that.
Yeah,
and I think the week prior to that, the Titans played the Vikings, and one person from the Vikings ended up with the virus as well.
Yep. So that game got postponed, and it's not going to happen until later on during the season.
Yeah.
The Patriots versus Chiefs got postponed too. So today's show we're not going to be going over the Patriots and Chiefs games because obviously our episodes drop on Tuesday morning and the games on Monday night.
The game is Monday night, and we won't have time to talk about it.
We won't have time to talk about it because the game's probably going to end around 11:30 p.m. So we'll do a recap on episode 30 for the game against the Chiefs. But that game got postponed for Sunday to Monday because Cam Newton tested positive for COVID-19. And, you know, that was pretty much the biggest bombshell in the NFL this
Saturday morning, biggest bombshell. Like I was at work actually, and I was on my phone. I was like, "Yo, what is this? Is Mike? Is this the right Mike Reese? Like, is this Mike Reese? Is this Mike Reese from ESPN?"
I didn't want to believe it either, man.
Yeah, no, me either. That was crazy. I know I woke up to that on Saturday.
I think you sent that to me, Barry, because I wasn't up yet. I wasn't up yet, and I woke up and like, what the what? You know, and obviously Cam Newton's one of the faces of the league, and, you know, that hit the NFL hard. But then we saw the NFL do some really weird shit, in my opinion. I don't know how you guys feel about it, because of the coronavirus. So Cam Newton, who's the quarterback of the team, tested positive, which we're told he's asymptomatic, right? But they're still going to go ahead and play the Chiefs on Monday night. Even though
2 days
after that
they found out he tested positive.
Right. So I think the question is like, is the NFL season in jeopardy? Right? Should they be thinking about doing a bubble, or is that even possible? And are they doing the right thing with playing the Patriots game? Like, I don't know why they didn't move the game like they did the Titans and Steelers game. Are they doing the right thing, you know, having the Patriots play this game? And before you say anything, both the teams had to sign off to actually play against each other.
Really? Wow.
I don't think they're doing the right thing. We've heard this for a long time now, that when you get exposed to the coronavirus, it takes 5 days for you to become symptomatic. Right? Mm-hmm. So if you find out that Cam Newton got the corona on Saturday. On Saturday. Monday's 2 days later. Monday it's Sunday and then Monday. 2 days later, you don't know how many people got the virus. No matter how many, no matter if everybody's test comes back negative, it still takes 5 days for you to become to have the virus. So even if you tested everybody on Monday morning or Monday night and they all came back negative, doesn't mean Wednesday, which will be the 5 day limit, and all those people will come back positive on Wednesday. So now if not everybody, but if a bunch of people in the Patriots come back positive on Wednesday and a bunch of people come back from the Chiefs come back positive also on Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, then it becomes a whole shit show.
Oh yeah.
Then it's a whole trouble. Then they can play the next game. Then it just keeps on snowballing into the next week until the next week. I personally want to watch the Patriots. I want to watch the Cam Newton play. I want to watch the Chiefs. That was the game of the week for CBS. CBS lost a lot of money on that. That was the game of the week for them. I wanted to watch that game, but if you're trying to be responsible, that game should be postponed to the end of the season or till the bye for the Patriots or the bye for the Chiefs, whatever works. That's what should happen. They shouldn't be playing on Monday night, which is 2 days after you found out somebody tested positive. I mean, nobody else have tested positive since then, but you don't know how fast that's gonna act. You don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow, Tuesday morning.
We all
Wednesday
have different
morning.
systems, man.
Yeah,
Right.
And to make matters worse, I heard on the radio today, before coming here to record, that Cam Newton is asymptomatic and he will be back to the Patriots locker room later this week.
What?
How does somebody test positive? I understand. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I understand they're asymptomatic, which means they're not showing any symptoms yet. Which it also means they could never show any symptom until they test negative. But it also means that they can show symptom at some other point.
Right.
But if that person doesn't test negative, how do you let them back into the facilities? I feel as though that person should test negative before they get back into that means they should be free of corona. They should have not corona anymore. They should have tested negative, and then they should be allowed to come back into the facilities. Just because somebody is asymptomatic, they're not coughing, they're not sneezing, they're not blowing their nose, they don't have a fever, doesn't mean they cannot affect John or affect the other player or affect the coach.
Right.
So to me, this is my mind is I don't even comprehend what the NFL is doing. They're like John said, they're putting their season in jeopardy to me. Like I feel as though with so many people coming back positive, with the way they're handling it, man, it's gonna be messy. We might not have a full NFL season.
Yeah, no, I'm with Vlad on this. This is ridiculous that they're really having this game played 2 days later after we heard about the positive test that Cam Newton got for COVID. Like this game shouldn't be happening on Monday night, and they should have done what they did with the Pittsburgh and Tennessee game and moving that to a later date in the season when it's convenient for both of those teams to be able to play. Like, how can you possibly have a guy, particularly a quarterback? It's one thing if, let's say, a kicker or someone else on the team tested positive. This is the quarterback of the team, and he's pretty much in contact with just about every single player on that team for the New England Patriots. So you're telling me you're going to have the quarterback of the New England Patriots test positive, but yet you still agree to and reschedule the game to a Monday night game 2 days later after, we just found this news out? Like, what kind of shit is that?
not to cut you off, Barry,
You could go ahead.
but I also heard that the Patriots are flying 20 team
got two planes.
team members,
Yeah,
two
yeah.
planes, 20 people on one plane. On these are the 20 people that supposedly got in contact with Cam Newton,
yeah.
and then the rest of the team on another plane. What?
So,
Right,
so those
exactly.
20 guys did not have any contact with the other 20 guys?
What?
Right, exactly.
It's a
what,
team.
What kind of sense is
Yeah,
that make?
I'm baffled. I'm baffled by the Patriots. I'm baffled by the league. But Barry, go ahead.
No problem, Vlad. And you bring up a good point there. Like, even that, to me, that was the most, by far, baffling and mind-blowing and boggling thing that I've heard from this, situation with these two teams. Is that, yeah, they really had to fly two different planes out there just to get them out there for the game. And, like, yeah, so, I mean, if those guys have all been in contact with each other, if, because everyone's pretty much been in contact with the quarterback, and then the guys that are on offense, I'm sure, obviously play on contact with the defense, so I'm not getting that and fully comprehending that either. But yeah, getting back to this game and really the NFL season. And don't get me wrong, I'm a big Patriots fan. Love them to death. I love and enjoy watching the games, and I'll always watch. But I mean, it's just hard for me to watch. It's gonna be hard for me to watch this game on Monday night, knowing that our starting quarterback got corona, and yet we're still playing the game 2 days later, and and still having to travel to to Kansas City for the game, right? It's absolutely asinine, and that I just don't get the NFL at all. The season, as far as that goes, yeah, it's not making it the full 16 games, and they can do what they want and add in the week 18. I don't think that's still gonna help the matter, because if this is happening now and we're only in week 4, quarter of the season, with the first month of the season just barely passing, like what is it gonna be when we get to week 8 and the later parts of the season? So I don't see the NFL season being able to last the full 16 games, with these teams, being already getting tested positive with corona, and the league they had better hope that when they test these guys on Wednesday after they play this game on Monday night, that there's no other positive
they better
tests.
hope.
They are absolutely fucked.
Yeah.
And they might as well, if they're positive tests, Vlad and John, for Wednesday after they play this game, they might as well just end the season Wednesday right then, saying this shit is over and done with, and we're not playing any more games, and no one else is going to be playing for the rest of the 2020 season. They might as well just end it that Wednesday morning, October 7th, once they get these test results after they played.
The PR is gonna be out of the roof. Like I'm already seeing articles about how dumb the decision is to play today. So the PR on the NFL is gonna be crazy if players come back positive after this.
Right.
No, absolutely. Yeah, they better say their prayers and go to church today and then do some serious praying, because you're right, the NFL's in deep shit if they get any more positive tests from either one of those teams after they play Monday night. But yeah, go ahead, John.
Yeah, man. Again, man, you guys make great points, and I agree with pretty much everything you guys are saying. And going back to Vlad's point, right, and not to even bring his name on this show, Donald Trump tested positive for the coronavirus, right?
Yeah, him and his wife, right?
Him and his wife, and they said that he did that last Thursday or something like that. When he got
right
tested.
after the debate, yeah.
Mm-hmm. just this morning, what's that? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Just this morning, the Secretary of the White House announced that she had COVID-19. Kayla McEnany.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like Vlad was saying, bro, it's been 2 days since the whole Cam Newton news came out that he tested positive. So how are we flying 2 planes of people that could possibly all have the coronavirus to a whole other state?
Every day after Trump got tested positive, different people that got in contact with him are testing
positive.
Right.
The same thing for the Titans. Every day that went by, somebody else tested positive. I think even yesterday morning, somebody tested positive.
They got another positive test
from the
that made
Titans.
it up to 16.
So
That's right.
how is that? I can't believe we're talking about this right now.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
how us, 3 regular guys that just wants to talk about sports on the internet we're more worried about that than a multi-billion-dollar industry. I mean, maybe that's why, because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and they want to make money. It's unbelievable. They don't have the health of the players as a priority.
No, they don't.
You know what I mean?
They could care less about it. They don't give a damn.
And that reminds me of OBJ and what he had to say. They don't give a damn about the players. You know what I'm saying? It's like, he had a point to saying that. Even though he's playing,
facts.
It's like they really don't give a shit, man. And for them to do that, man, it's just like you can see the greed in the NFL. I think it's another botched situation. I don't think a bubble is possible for the NFL.
Yeah, I don't either.
Unless they cut down to using half the stadiums and, only using the top of the line stadiums, period. I don't see that happening.
Me either. I don't think you can do that with the NFL.
With the amount of players on each team, with the logistics that have to happen, with the amount of work, it's just impossible unless they had their own fucking island or something. I just don't see them doing anything bubble-like with the NFL. And like Barry was saying, I definitely think the NFL is in trouble, man.
Oh, big time.
And football players, if anything, they all think they're invincible, man. You see what they do on the field, these guys will lay their life out there. So what makes you think they're gonna follow every protocol to not catch coronavirus? It's just not gonna happen. We saw NBA players sneaking people into the hotels in the bubble. So imagine, these guys go home after work.
Yep.
Right,
they go home after
families. Well,
they're not staying in the hotel with the team. And that's the other thing. You're not gonna keep 53 guys, away from their family 53? For a whole season.
53, you got
the players, but with the coach, with the coaches,
53. It's 53 active players every Sunday, but you also have the players on IR, the players
on practice squad,
the players that are in the team but are not playing every Sunday.
Practice
squad play. You know what I mean? So many. It's and the coaches, the staff. It's
I don't know, man.
It's like a 100-person. 100-person
team, right?
You know what I mean?
100-person staff.
Yeah,
I think
works and travels with the team. Yeah.
They would have done better prolonging the season, where they had a game every 2 weeks for teams. So that we can test. For 2 weeks going in. Within those 2 weeks, we find out if people, you know what I mean?
We'll see.
And alternate weeks, have half the teams play this week and the other half plays next week.
All I know is the guys that
would have been a good idea. So it's good thinking, John.
The guys that opted out are looking at this now
looking at you stupid.
Yeah, man.
Especially the Patrick Chungs and the Dante Hightowers, who got the newborns, and it's thank God I dodged a bullet. I could bring the friggin' monster into my house, man, and regardless of what Donald Trump tells you, people are fucking dying from this shit. And I actually know one of my good guys is actually in the hospital on a ventilator right now. And I didn't know anybody personally, so shout out to Obi, man. And I hope you get better, man. And this dude's a strong dude, and it's you don't know how it's gonna hit certain people. You don't know what it's gonna do to certain individuals. And people want to listen to the bullshit. Everybody's gonna catch it. That may be true, but everybody doesn't react to it the same way. It doesn't hit everybody the same way.
Right.
Donald Trump has the fucking best doctors around the world. Hands and foot, 24 hours a day. We don't have that shit. When we go in, we're without our families. We're gonna die by ourselves if we are gonna die. They're not gonna let people in to come visit you. You're by yourself. So I don't know, man. They definitely need to take this shit seriously. And I see why the NFL was fining the coaches for not wearing their mask on the sideline. It's like, look what's happening. It's not even. It's just hit the first quarter of the season, and teams are, half of teams catching corona.
That's crazy.
That is nuts.
Yeah, no,
Imagine
unbelievable.
Imagine for the second time this year we will be out without sports.
Bro.
Oh boy.
I'd rather that than have these guys lose their lives. Look what happened to
exactly.
Look what happened to that kid. Rodrigo Rodriguez? His name is from the Red Sox. 27-year-old Eduardo Rodriguez, 27 years old. He was a healthy kid, but coronavirus exposed other shit that he had going on in his body that he didn't even account for. You know what I'm saying? So now he has heart issues. He's gonna have problems for the rest of his life. And a lot of these football players, sometimes they find out they're sick on draft day. It's like, dude, I've been playing my whole life. I never knew that. I never knew I had an enlarged heart. I never knew I had this or that or the third. You know what I'm saying? Right. They find out once they get in testing. So that, imagine other guys that have developed stuff over time while they're in the NFL. Then boom, they get hit by the coronavirus, man. And I'm just hoping nobody dies from this shit when it comes to the NFL. Yeah, you guys definitely had some great thoughts on it. I'm glad we're all on the same page, man. This thing is just. Corona's nothing to fuck with. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Just put it simple as that, But, given what the situation is, it seems like they're not thinking about it like we are. So hopefully they get on board, man. So we're actually going to move on.
One more thing I just want to mention before we move on, just because we have the opportunity to, is so last week we talked about the preview of the Patriots versus the Chiefs. Yeah. And today... Since the Patriots are playing tonight, because we are recording on a Monday, right? And we have Brian Hoyer as the
starting quarterback.
Hoister. And before the podcast, John and I were having a conversation. Yeah. And John was giving me this vibe that he thinks the Patriots has a chance of winning this game.
Whoa! What?
So what do you guys say about that, John? I want to.
You said that. I'll let John go first.
Maybe I misspoke by saying they could win. Maybe what I meant to say was it could be competitive.
It could be competitive.
You know what I'm saying? maybe that's what I meant. You know what I mean? I also did say I don't think they're gonna win. But at the end of the day, we still have Bill Belichick. We still have a defense, and I think this is where the defense has to earn their money, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we spent more money on the defense in our secondary. And what do the Chiefs do? They air out the ball, and it's like, this is the week you guys need to earn your fucking paychecks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so I'm looking at that offense, though.
Yeah, I'm just saying, bro.
And all those boys,
they're all NFL players. They're all NFL players. You know what I'm saying? And I think any given game, somebody could lose. You know what I'm saying? It's not like the Chiefs could never lose,
I'm not saying that.
I'm just saying, they could be competitive.
Let's keep it short so we move on
I'm not saying they're going to win. And, that's where I stand with that. I'm always going to give a Bill Belichick
all I'm going to say is if we score a touchdown.
You don't think we can score a touchdown?
But listen, Brian Hoyer sucks, right? So that's agreed on.
Yeah, he's trash.
He did not practice this week because he didn't expect to play this week.
Oh boy!
He found out he was gonna play. He found out he was gonna play not Saturday, yesterday. Yeah. On Sunday.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me, man?
This is why he's the backup, right?
And also, we've had a good running game lately, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that's also predicated on the fact that Cam Newton's a good runner. The ball.
Right.
Man,
it's gonna be. Come on, man. I don't think we win this game at all.
at least he has
Last time-
veteran experience and the knowledge of
Exactly.
the offense.
He does have the knowledge.
You know, those are the things that I can give him, but I still don't know how, you know,
But
confident.
when the
they
last
should
time,
feel
when the
about-
last time
Listen,
he played a game?
I mean, it's been a couple years since he started. Since he started,
And probably a couple
you know
years
what I
ago,
mean?
probably 2018. Because
Well, listen.
I don't think
Oh,
he
man.
played
When it-
2019.
This
So
game,
you don't think Brian Hoyer could at least get 250 yards passing?
Remember, the Chiefs
Because
have a trash defense.
Cam hasn't
Their
been
defense
throwing
is
like,
not
you know,
good.
300-yard games. Like, you know, for the 2 games he's played 2 games and he's thrown under 300 yards.
But he's the and not only that he's the backup, he did not practice this week. He's not ready.
I mean, they practice. It just doesn't have the reps.
Right. He just didn't get the reps because Cam was getting.
Yeah, I don't know, man. And as sucky as our receivers are already, I'm not expecting.
Listen, this is-
my expectation are the all-time low for today's game.
Listen,
all-time, like
saw-
this is the lowest my expectation have been for a Patriots team ever.
We saw a game where Cam Newton threw like 30 screens in that game, man.
Just the other day against the Raiders, like screen. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like he wasn't throwing.
Like that tonight.
It's gonna have to be. We got James White back. You know, Sony Michel's actually out.
Yeah, because Damian Harris is coming back.
Is he coming back?
Yep, that's
Oh,
right.
and we
That's
got
why
Damian
Sony
Harris
Michel's
back.
inactive.
Well, he had like an quad issue, so I don't think that's why he's inactive. I think, you know, they got the running backs in and they're giving him some time. But I don't know, man. Like I said, a Bill Belichick led team. They're gonna score something. You know, I'm not saying they're gonna win. But that would be crazy if they fucking won. You know what I'm saying?
know,
Like,
right.
Like
I
that'd
don't
be.
see it happening, but
Listen,
that would be insane.
If they won this game tonight, Bill Belichick wins the Coach of the Year this week.
Just give him the
that's
award
it.
already.
Give it to him.
Right. We've seen enough already.
I'm not.
If they make this game close, Bill Belichick wins Coach of the Year
I'm
now.
I'm not even entertaining this conversation.
Listen,
like.
man.
I'm with Vlad. I don't see them winning tonight. I mean, I hope they can compete and at least keep it, you know, respectable and, you know.
Listen, you know what I'm hoping? I'm hoping the Chiefs think just like you guys.
Like
It's gonna be
like,
That they've already won the game.
so they
That
could
the
go
game's
in there and
already won.
Fuck up, you know?
It's gonna
They can
be.
just go through the motions.
Exactly.
It's gonna be a slaughter.
Yo, I really hope you're wrong, man. But I can see easily where you could be right, man. Like Patrick Mahomes threw 5 touchdowns last week and made it look like he was playing in the backyard, man. So,
But let's move on.
yeah, man,
right,
for sure. Let's move on to the NHL. There's not much going on because the Tampa Bay Lightnings, they won the Stanley Cup. So
Yeah.
congratulations to them.
I watched a little bit of that series.
I watched a little bit of it
I watched
too.
some of that game 6, the last game.
Tampa looked good. You know, Tampa played well against us. and
Tampa did what they had to do.
Yeah.
They did
Right.
what they were supposed to do.
They were very dominant.
You know what I'm saying?
So
So it's like, I mean, Barry was like, "Yo, I choose Lightning to win," and you know, and that's exactly what happened. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, for sure.
it is what it is, man.
No, absolutely. I thought the Lightning were, you know, the better team, and they'd played well all playoffs, including the series that they played the Bruins. And I thought, you know, certainly that they were destined to win the cup. It's crazy that it's taken them this long to win a cup since they've had this team for a little while, and you know, and have been in making playoff runs the last few years, with the exception of last year. But certainly they, you know, were the right team to win, and they, you know, they had the, you know, they had their year and their, you know, their cup that they should have won. So definitely shout out to the Tampa Bay Lightning for winning the cup this year, and you know, and being the Stanley Cup champs. So they deserved it.
Yeah, man, for sure. Yeah, again, shout outs to them. On to the MLB. MLB, there's playoff matchups right now. There's NLC NLCS, LA Dodgers versus San Diego Padres. The Miami Marlins versus Atlanta Braves. And then for the ALCS, it's Yankees versus Tampa Bay Rays and Houston Astros versus Houston actually made it to the playoffs.
Yes,
versus Oakland A's. I know, Barry, did you want to break that down for us as to what happened?
Yes, so the wild card series just finished up in both leagues. So I'll give a quick, recap of how each series went. So the Rays played the Blue Jays, and Tampa Bay won that 2-0. The Indians played the Yankees, and the Yankees won that 2-0. The Astros played the Twins, and the Astros won that 2-0. And then the Athletics played the White Sox, and the Athletics won that 2-1. For the National League, we had the Dodgers. They had the bye in the first round, so excuse me, they are gonna play the Padres, who won their series 2-0. 2-1, excuse me. They actually came back and won the last 2 games. So shout out to the Padres. They beat the Cardinals too, who are a pretty good team. So next series is the Miami Marlins and the Cubs, and the Miami Marlins actually won that series 2-0, and that's pretty impressive because Miami Marlins actually haven't lost a playoff game yet, and the Cubs are definitely a disappointment and had a pretty good start, and Jay just didn't play well to finish the season, so disappointing then for the Cubs. And then the last but not least, the Atlanta Braves beat the Cincinnati Reds 2-0, so the Braves will be moving on to play the Marlins, and then the Padres and the Dodgers will be playing in the other matchup of the NLDS, and then it'll be the Yankees and the Rays for the ALDS, and then it'll be the Astros and the A's for the other ALDS matchup.
Thank you, brother.
No problem.
And we're gonna move on to soccer with Vlad. What's going on?
Not a lot. The New England Revolution on 6th place in the Eastern Conference, and they've been in that for a couple of weeks now. That's really it. I mean, the European leagues have just started. There's some notable matchup this week, or some crazy game this week. Liverpool lost against Aston Villa 7-2. And Tottenham beat Manchester United 6-1, which was some crazy games, but nothing crazy to report yet. I think next week they're gonna be on an international break, so the international teams are gonna play, so that should be interesting. And then the week after that, the Champions League starts, and everybody gets excited for the Champions League, so we'll be talking about that when that starts.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. That was pretty short. There's no championships being played this week.
Not
Right. No more weekly champions. Yeah. So.
Yeah, man. Last but not least, the B Money Lifestyle Person of the Week, man, Barry.
Yes. So for this week's B Money Lifestyle Person of the Week, it's I would say he's the most famous and popular owner in the NBA, and has, certainly a great owner, and has done a lot of really good things in this league. So, he's definitely a good, and successful businessman as well. But he did something really good and then really awesome this week, and that person is Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban. So he ended up being the B Money Lifestyle Person of the Week because he actually, helped out and gave a helping hand to Delonte West, who, was a former player in the NBA, played for several teams, played for the Celtics, played for the Cavs, played for the Mavs for a little bit, as well as a few other teams. But lately, he hasn't been doing very well, and he's been homeless out in the streets for a while, and he, pretty much looks like a bum, as much as I hate to say it. So, he was out in a gas station in Dallas and, held up a sign, pretty much asking for help, and he legit, looked, hopeless. And
he played for Dallas too for a little bit.
yeah, he did. He did play for the Mavs for a little bit. That's why I think he was in Dallas. Just recently, I think that's where he was living and staying at. And luckily, Mark Cuban was nice enough to be able to, help him, give him the help that he needs to get his, life back on track.
Do we know what kind of help he got?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he pretty much sent him, picked him up, sent him to a rehab, facility, reconnected him with his mom and his family, and then even offered to pay for, all his rehab bills and his, and pretty much cover all the, finances that would have to be taken care of for his rehab. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it is. That is really awesome, and it's certainly impressive and pretty, hard, and pretty heartwarming and touching thing for Mark Cuban to do that. I've always, respected him as an owner and as a businessman, but this makes me respect him a whole lot more for him giving the help that Delonte West, desperately needs in the worst way, and for him to do that when he didn't have to shows the, kind of character and the kind of heart that he has, and that he is a really good, person, and that he really cares and wants to help Delonte West get back on his feet and get his life together, and hopefully with the help that he just gave Delonte West, he'll be able to do that through his, rehab process that he's in. He's in a rehab facility in Florida, so so he could be closer to his family, since that's where his family stays. So hopefully that goes well for him, and hopefully he does well in rehab and can be able to get back on his feet, and and really get back to, living life in a healthy manner. So once again, congrats to Mark Cuban on being this week's B Money Lifestyle Person of the Week.
Yeah, no, I heard that story. That's a pretty good thing, man. And I liked Delonte West when he was on the Celtics. I thought he played hard. I thought he was a talented kid. I always thought he was a little weird. And when things started going downhill with him, when I heard he got caught with like 13 guns, one of them was like in the bottom of his shoe and shit. I'm like, yo, something's going on there.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
And I can't help but think, man, I wish more people had the opportunities that Delonte West has, because there's a lot of homeless people out there, and I guarantee you they're not getting picked up by billionaires, man.
Yeah.
So I hope he takes advantage of what he got, because there's a lot of people that, would want to be in his position. And I've seen videos of him. The guy, he really looks lost, man.
Yeah.
He looks
he doesn't look
horrible,
homeless.
awful.
He is a homeless. Like he's picked up everything. He looks like one of them people in methadone, whatever mile over there. You know what I'm saying?
No, for real.
It's
He
like
does.
dirty clothes.
That's a Boston reference.
Boston method. Which actually should be abolished. They need to get rid of that whole fucking strip, because that's crazy to me. Where you can have a whole mile where people are just shooting up drugs all day and the police just watching them. Like,
not
what the
doing
fuck
anything
is
about
that?
it, right?
And they built them like a cage to all go in like animals. You guys can go shoot up over there. Like, that's some weird shit, you know.
Yeah, it is facts.
Because I know, you know, most of those people, if they were African American, they'd be tossed in fucking jail. With the
Straight up,
quickness.
that's big facts.
But, you know, nevertheless, man, thank you for that.
No
Congrats to Mark Cuban, man. And if you guys don't have anything else to say, that's been episode 29 of Pro Fan Sports Podcast, where the fans of the pros go. So we're going to catch y'all on episode 30, man.
Yes, sir. And get well soon, Cam Newton. Prayers to you, brother. We'll hope you have a quick and speedy recovery. So the best wishes to Cam Newton.
Right. Come to our show. We won't make fun of your clothes.
That'd be dope.
Y'all. That would be dope. All right.
Facts, no doubt.
Peace out.
Peace out, guys. See you next week.